welcome to today's All About You program. So what I'd like to speak to you today is about something that if we avoid, if we stop doing it, we could lose everything. Without this thing, we will not make it. We can't make it. And what I'm speaking about today is sacrifice. It's a word that many people don't like. It's difficult to do. Sometimes people find it a burden because they miss the point. They miss the whole reason why we need to sacrifice. So I'm going to give you a few examples today to hopefully open your understanding about why we need to do it and why we should never ever see it as a burden. So let's take the campaigns of faith that we have in the church every 6 months in the church. For me personally, I see the campaigns as a tool, a means where we guard our salvation, we're maintaining our salvation. Why do I say this? Because have you noticed that we can get attached to things over time? Have you noticed that we can start depending on things or start to lean towards things? This world is very distracting. This world is getting worse and worse, and there are many things around us. We have the social media now, we have distractions, we have the news, we have fashion. There's so many things that are extremely distracting. So for me, with the campaigns of faith that we have is a way for us to bring our attention back to what really matters, because we can get carried away with things without even realizing it. And you might say, oh, but the campaigns are just for conquering things and conquering material blessings and things like that. Yes, you do get blessed when you use your faith and you need to conquer something or you need to grow in certain areas. Of course, you will get blessed on those things, but don't miss the point. You could have become attached to something. You could have become attached even to something like a watch. You could have become attached to your clothes. You love them. You have this, you're thinking about clothing all the time. You could get even attached to the things that God has given you, which should never happen, but you can get attached to those things. So from time to time, when you sincerely seek God and you ask him what he wants from you, he will reveal those things to you. And sometimes it will make your heart pump fast because you're thinking, oh no, I don't want to give that thing. Well, why? Why don't you want to give that thing? It's because somehow there's an attachment there. And you may say, but Chris, I'm not attached to material things. I don't need to give anything because I'm not attached to these things. Really? Are you sure? Because, for example, you may have come to God and you had, for example, a very bad financial condition. And with time, when you became a tither and you started to use your faith, you conquered certain things, and you've even become used to a certain level of comfort. And you forget where God took you from. You forget what it's like to be without, not to have everything that you wanted. You forget what that feels like. And it's good if God asks you, for example, in a campaign, give this to me. Go without. It reminds you, it's good for us because it reminds us of what it was like before we came to God. Because with time, we can forget. With time, we can become used to things. We can become used to having certain things in our lives. And we forget what it was like when we first came to God. I'll give you a small example about myself. There was a time when I was doing a live TV program in the evenings. I can't remember. I think it was either 11 p.m. it started or 12 midnight. I can't remember, one of the two anyway. It was very late. And this was after a long day that I'd had already in the office. And there was one time I was so tired. I was really tired, and it was very late at night. Most people getting ready to go to bed. I was getting ready to go to do a live program. And in that moment, I felt so like I didn't want to do it. I felt so tired. I was like, oh God, this is so late and I really don't want to go. And do you know what happened? As I was thinking that, immediately the Holy Spirit said to me, reminded me, what were you doing at this kind of time before you came to me? How were you feeling? Before I came to God, at around that time, 11, 12 o'clock, basically evening time, I would be very down. I would be very fearful because it was already dark. I was afraid of the dark. I was afraid of death. I would probably be having a panic attack. So you see, God reminded me of how I was before at that time. So there was no way I should be feeling like that or complaining that I was going to do this program and it's late at night. But I was suffering before at that time. Now I was free. Now I have peace. So you see, we can forget. So there's certain things that the Holy Spirit asks for us to, so that we stay close to him, so that we remain close to him. It's not about the things, the material things that we have or that we're giving. It's about making sure that our hearts are on him, that our thoughts are on him, that we're not distracted by the things of this world, that our mind isn't all over the place with all the new things that are coming out. As I said, the social media, the distractions, the alerts, all the chat groups and everything that's constantly bombarding us. The Holy Spirit's taking care of us. When he asks for something, when he asks us to make a sacrifice, it's because he's drawing us close to him. It's because he wants us near him. He wants to protect us. He wants to keep us. He wants to make sure that we remain with him until the end. When I came to church, for example, we didn't have the 21 days. We never used to have that. But why? Why did the Holy Spirit bring movements like the 21 days, the fast of Daniel, Godllywood, for example? Because, and by the way, don't think that these are things that man has created to deprive us, as some people sometimes we hear things. It's not something that man has created and, we're being deprived of things. There's nothing to do with that. If you think this way, there's no spirituality there at all. These things have been brought by the Holy Spirit himself. Why? Because he sees the way the world has changed. He sees things aren't the same as they were 20 years ago when I first came to the church. That things aren't even the same as last year, 5 years ago. Things are changing dramatically and very quickly. So the 21 days came at a time when the Holy Spirit could see, my people, they're too much on their phones, or they're too much with media, they're too much with entertainment, and their hearts are being drawn away from me. Godllywood, for example. Godllywood, again, another tool to help us maintain our salvation. Things that, we could, us ladies especially, can get distracted by things, by Hollywood, by the celebrities, by a certain image that we supposedly need to keep. We can get distracted by these things. So here comes Godllywood that keeps us, safe, that gives us offerings that we need, that we can do, that will help us keep our minds on what's important and not to get carried away by these things. So, sacrifice. The 21 days, the campaigns, Godllywood, there's certain sacrifices that we make. But what for? To deprive us? No, not to deprive us, but to keep us safe, to keep us close to God, to keep us with him. Don't misunderstand things, because people that have left the church, people that have left the presence of God, is one reason and one reason only: they didn't want to sacrifice anymore. They stopped sacrificing. They started to think that they didn't need to sacrifice anymore. So see yourself, sacrifice, for example, your bad eyes. When the thoughts come to you to look at someone in a wrong way, to look at the authority in a wrong way, to see certain situations in a bad way, sacrifice those bad thoughts. Sacrifice the judgmental thoughts that you have. Sacrifice your pride. That pride that keeps you from seeking help. There's something wrong. Something's not right with you, but maybe you have a certain position in the church, or you're an assistant, or you don't want people to think that you're weak, so you don't want to go and speak and ask for help. Sacrifice that. It's not worth it. Sacrifice it. So you see, sacrifice is everything. It's true Christianity. True Christianity is based on sacrifice, and there's no escaping it, because that's what keeps us close to God. People that leave, or they want to go other ways or other religions. Sometimes people will leave Christianity and go to, those kind of, I would say, softer religions. I'm not going to name any here, obviously, but some that, it still kind of looks spiritual, it's good, it's nice, but it doesn't require true sacrifice. There's a few things that you have to give up here and there, maybe certain things to eat and stuff like that, but there's no real sacrifice of your will, of yourself. There's not. And so it's easier. people that leave, people that don't want to follow God anymore, it's because they don't want to sacrifice. They don't want to give up on things, on their will. And this is the problem. This is what keeps people stuck, first of all. This is what, for those that have the Holy Spirit, if they stop actually, something that I wanted to say as well. Don't think that, those of you that have the Holy Spirit, don't think that your sacrifices of the past will sustain you today. No, they won't. They won't. It's constant. It's every day. Because like I said, things come, situations, you go through certain situations. You go through certain things with people around you, even in the church. As I said before, you can get attached to things. Things can come your way, distractions. And the sacrifices of the past will not sustain you now. You have to sacrifice now. You have to constantly be seeking God and saying to God, what is it you want from me? What is it that I've become attached to? What is it that maybe my heart has started to incline to start to depend on this thing? For example, another example I'd like to give you, maybe you have certain escapisms. Oh, I want to go shopping, for example, because I'm feeling a bit stressed and I want to go shopping and let some steam out. Or I want to go out somewhere because I'm feeling very, agitated and I just need to get away. I need to go on holiday. I need to get away from everything. Hang on a minute. Why would you need to go shopping or go away or go for a break? I'm not saying, look, of course, we all need to rest and we all need to have a break from time to time to rest our body. But what about, you don't need to do that to rest like in terms of escaping. Our escape should be God. When we speak to him, when we seek him, when we develop more our relationship with him, that should be our escape. That's the way we get recharged and we get strength again. It's not by going on holiday and going shopping and all these kind of things that sometimes we hear. If that's your escape, that means you're not depending on God anymore. You're not depending on your relationship with him. It's about something outside. So sacrifice those things. Seek God. Ask him, what do I need to give up, Lord? What am I getting carried away with? What is distracting me? Like that baby, or even a cat, when you rattle something, they go off and they get distracted by this thing. What is it that's distracting you? What is it that you have to sacrifice? Remember, sacrifice isn't only when we have our campaigns or the 21 days. It's constant. It's every single day, because constantly, every single day, every second, every day, the devil's trying to distract us. The devil wants us to sacrifice to him. So every day, every second, we need to watch and we need to sacrifice our will. So what is it? What is it that you need to sacrifice? Think about this, because, this world is very short, people. I'm going to finish very shortly, but just to give you an idea, when I was depressed and when I had the panic attacks, the reason I had the panic attacks was because I was afraid of death. And I had a very, very strong understanding of how short this life is, because I was afraid of this life ending. And I could imagine how quickly the years would pass. That's what used to send me into a panic attack, because I thought sooner or later, very soon, I'm going to die. This world just passes so quickly and I'm going to die. And I was afraid of death. And that's what would bring the panic attacks. That's the problem that I had before. And so because of this, I have a very good understanding of how short this life is. For me, I thank God actually that I have this understanding, that I had those problems in the past, because it keeps me very focused on how short this life is here. And this helps me to maintain my salvation, because I know we're not here for long. People, listen to me. This world is going to finish like this. It's going to go so quickly. So quickly. Either Jesus will come back very soon, or we're going to die. A few years more, we're all going to go. What's 20, 30, 40 years? Blink of an eye, it's gone. So it's so important to stay focused on what's to come, on your salvation. Keep focused on that, because that's forever. It's forever. And nothing in this world is worth losing that salvation. Nothing is in this world is worth losing the most precious thing that you have. And let me tell you something. You are privileged. You are so privileged to know God, to have access. If you don't know God yet, you have access to him. We are teaching you in the church. You have the services. You have so many tools to get closer to God. You know how privileged you are. There are millions of people that don't have this privilege, and you have. Why would you throw it away? So keep focused. Like I said, this world is going to end quickly, very fast. Keep your eyes on God. Keep sacrificing. Do whatever He asks you to do, and make sure that you make it. This is the only thing that will sustain you. Sacrifice. Well, everyone, I hope this program has helped you today. And if you have any questions, if you'd like to leave any comments for us, you can do so below. And also the email address is on your screen now if you would like to ask us any question. Or if there's a topic that you would like us to cover on this program, do let us know. Until next time, bye-bye for now.